And the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has condemned the sanctions that have been imposed by Britain and other nations against two Israeli cabinet members. These ministers are accused of repeatedly inciting violence against Palestinians. Now, we're speaking about Rubio's comment, which came after Britain's foreign ministry earlier announced that Israel's National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, and the second one being Israel's Finance Minister, Bezalel Smotrich, they will be banned from entering the UK and will have any assets in the country frozen. Now, Australia, Canada, New Zealand and Norway, they have also imposed fresh measures against the ministers in Israel.
Well, these two individuals, Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, have been inciting violence against Palestinian people for months and months and months. And alongside our partners, Canada, Australia, New Zealand and Norway, today we are announcing sanctions against those individuals because we have been absolutely clear. This has to stop, and we stand for a two-state solution. And the settler violence that we've seen in the West Bank particularly is entirely unacceptable.
In a joint statement, the foreign ministers of the five countries said that Ben-Gvir and Smotrich have incited extremist violence and serious abuses of Palestinian human rights. They said that the action is being taken now to hold those responsible to account. A UK government official speaking on conditions of anonymity said that Canada and Australia had also imposed sanctions, while Norway and New Zealand had implemented travel bans against these ministers. However, US criticized the move. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in a statement said that these sanctions do not advance US-led efforts to achieve a ceasefire. They don't help with bringing all hostages back home, and neither do they help with ending the war in Gaza. The sanctions mark a break between the five countries and Israel's closest ally, that is the US, with Rubio urging partners not to forget who the real enemy is and to stand shoulder to shoulder with Israel against Hamas. Both Ben-Gvir and Smotrich lead far-right parties that play a key role in Prime Minister Netanyahu's very fragile coalition. Their hardline stance on the West Bank and the Gaza war has drawn international condemnation time and again. They face asset freezes and travel bans from five countries now, which I mentioned earlier. Reacting to these sanctions, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Saar said that the government would hold a special meeting early next week to decide how to respond to the unacceptable decision.
We were informed about UK decision to include two of our ministers on the British sanctions list. It is outrageous that elected representatives and members of the government are subjected to this kind of measures. I discussed it earlier today with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and we will hold a special government meeting early next week to decide on our response to this unacceptable decision.
Meanwhile, Smotrich has directed the Finance Ministry to cancel a waiver that allowed Israeli banks to work with Palestinian ones. Local media reports said that Smotrich's order came in response to the sanctions, even though the Palestinian Authority is not known to have any involvement in the joint decision by the UK and other countries. The Palestinian economy relies heavily on the bank's relationships with their Israeli counterparts to process transactions made in shekels, as Palestinian Authority does not have any currency of its own.